Welcome everyone to TaliaTalks podcast. You are here with your host, Talia Majdalawi. I hope you're all doing well and ready to take in this energy to lead with growth and inspired thoughts. So it has been a little while since I actually got on the podcast, and I'm actually just really excited to be on here live with you, where you guys can all just tune in and hear me out on some thoughts. Today we are going to kind of just vent. We're going to talk and we're going to understand each other on a spiritual, personal, and just a beautiful level. So let's just take a minute to breathe. We are breathing. We have so much to be thankful for. We have so much to look forward to. We have so much that we don't even realize we have. And I think that's our biggest issue. We drain ourselves so much, and then we forget about just our goals. We forget about everything that we've been working towards, everything that we have. And, sometimes you just need to take a step back and just give thanks and breathe and relax and just come to center. So I am here coming to center with you all. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. So I was actually thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and I just have so much that I want to talk about because there is just so much going on in our worlds, so much going on in our lives personally, and I'm sure you all can relate to that. I really wanted to name this podcast Understanding 2020 because personally I feel like this year has just been so overwhelming for us, and we just don't know where we stand currently. We don't know how to feel. We don't know, what to do at certain times and points of our day. So understanding 2020, where do I even begin? Where can I even start to just break this all down to you? Think about everything that you have accomplished in 2020 and think about all the things that tried to bring you down in 2020, because there's just so much emotion, so much just up in the air with this year, and it is coming to a close. I mean, tomorrow is September 1st. I am recording this on August 31st. So, I mean, I can start with the beginning of the year. And I think we should all start with the beginning of the year. Let's think about where we were in the beginning of the year. Gosh. I just feel like this year has just been a drag. It's been very just chaotic, and for so many different reasons. Now, I just want you all to understand that energy is very contagious, right? So if our everyday society is going through emotional roller coasters, our everyday society is facing so many issues. Let me tell you, when we walk outside our doors, we bring back that energy to our houses. We bring back that energy to our homes, and it rubs off on our families. It rubs off on our friends. And what I mean by that is that society is affected by people. Now, when we go to work, we're affected. When we go to the gym, we're affected. When we grab a cup of coffee, we're affected. And you're all probably wondering, what are you talking about and how is that even possible? And it's possible, and that happens because energy is contagious. So if I'm going to the store and our world is chaotic and another individual is just having a bad day and they watched the news before they went for that cup of coffee, guess what? They're not going to be very nice in that morning. So I say good morning, and then they're just mean or rude. That affects me. because I'm an empath, and it rubs off. The negativity, it just rubs off. And I feel like 2020 was just so overwhelmingly negative in so many ways, right? I could sit here and talk about all the negatives and talk about how 2020's negativity can affect me and has affected me. But we need to understand that all these things in this world, all these things in society are happening for the better good. And I know right now we can't really see that, and we don't really understand why we can't see that, and we want to understand it. But I think 2020 is just pretty much telling us to just kind of take a step back and breathe. Take a step back and reflect. Before 2020 closes off, I feel like we should really reflect on ourselves. We should really try to understand what is our position in our lives. So whether that is, being a mother, being a father, being a friend, being a sister, being a sibling, what is our position as a professional? What is our position as whatever it is that we do, quote unquote? What is our duty? What is our position? How can we be better? How can we be better? How can we understand each other better? And it starts with understanding ourselves first. Because if we don't understand our beliefs, if we don't understand, what it is that we believe in, how can we understand what's going on in the world? And I think that is a big issue, because what I've been seeing in 2020 is that it's just something is on the news. That's what you're going to believe. Okay, everyone's talking about it. You're just going to believe it and go with it, right? And I don't really want to go too much into detail because, there's just so much going on and I don't have the answers to it, but I'm just venting to you and I'm just trying to understand 2020 just like you. In order to understand 2020, we have to face the issues. We have to face the problem, right? And the problem really starts within ourselves. The healing starts within ourselves. The solution starts and is in fact rooted in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, and our being. And if we don't really start to face our issues, social issues, everyday issues, we cannot move forward as an individual and as a society. Now, I just think it's very, very important for us to take the time to look at how far we have come as an individual and as a society. Now, what inspired me to make this podcast was a couple things, and I'm going to open up about them. First and foremost, I have a sister. I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers. One of my sisters she is actually an assistant principal in Bronx, New York. And she is really, really passionate about her job title, about what she does and how she serves for her community. And myself as a dental hygienist, being new to the field and just being a people person, I think it was very important for me to sit down and have a conversation with my sister, because everything that was going on in the news really took a toll on my sister. She really follows politics. She follows just social issues, and she's huge on, her community. And I appreciate that, because my job title is to help and serve a community. Now, my sister and I have different fathers. She is darker than me. And whenever we would have the discussion of this whole Black Lives Matter movement, or whenever we would have discussions about politics and just white privilege and these very sticky subjects, I would kind of just think with my heart and say, I love everyone. And, I think if you're a bad person, then you get bad things. And if you're a good person, then you get good things. But that wasn't her argument. Her argument was that our country, our nation, our society is facing a lot of injustices. That is to be true after I did my own research and I took a step back, because there were times in our discussions where we would disagree and it would get a little heated. And I feel like 2020 was so negative that it was affecting families. It was affecting relationships. And I am currently dating an officer, police officer, who, works frontline and sees many different things that I don't see. I see many different things that my sister doesn't see. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is that in order to make change and see change, and in order to withhold a civil conversation, I believe a person needs to do their own reflection. They need to do their own homework. They need to read their own books and find their own resources in order to understand, have some kind of understanding. I don't want to get too much into the Black Lives Matter movement or police brutality or COVID-19, but I just think that all these issues that are going on in the world, there's just no room for pointing a finger at someone. 2020 is a door for people to see beyond the surface, to really open their minds, to really understand what it is to feel and to be a human being. Because everyone handles situations differently. Everyone knows different things, and we need to learn from each other. And it all starts within your own home. It starts within your own home. So I had to understand in 2020 that there are a lot of issues in this world that I don't know about, that I should know about. And to be honest with you, when it comes to politics, I feel like that is just a personal choice. It is a personal decision. And I feel like the media exposes people's privacy. I believe everyone is entitled to believe whatever it is that they believe in, whether that's you are a Republican, whether that is you are a Democrat. But when it comes down to discrimination and prejudice and hatred, there is just that line that breaks those barriers. There is just that thing, that aura that is just unacceptable. And I am doing this. I am speaking as a Latina. I am speaking as a Middle Eastern American young woman who is proud to be Middle Eastern and Latina. And I am proud to have a sister who is motivated and moved by civil rights movements. It's very ignorant of me to just not want to talk about these things and say, you know what, that's just too negative for me to talk about. Because it affects my sister. It's affecting my family. It's affecting friends. It's affecting people around me, coworkers, people that I engage in on a day-to-day. I engage with, I should say. Another story, when this whole Black Lives Matter movement was going on, I was kind of just like, in the very beginning, hey, all lives matters, right? All lives matter. That was my thing, because I didn't see black, white. I didn't see white supremacy. I didn't see white men in power. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. After I sat in my room and really reflected, I didn't think about my family members that are of a different complexion of me. I didn't think about me being a woman in this country and, all these, just social issues that our country has actually been through and women have fought for, people have fought for all these years. I didn't really think about the history behind it, right? Because everything has a motive and there's a reason behind everything. Now, I really strongly am putting myself out there right now because I feel like a lot of people need to do this. A lot of people need to just sit back, take a deep breath, and say, what kind of person am I? Am I a person who is ignorant and just doesn't care about my ancestors, my family members, my history, my culture, my position in society? Or am I a person who has experienced life, has immigrant parents who have worked extremely hard in this country? Am I that kind of person that's educated and should know better? People need to know better. And understanding 2020 is knowing better. You need to know better. And the only way you're going to know better is by reading a book, going for a walk, reflecting, understanding people's pain. A lot of people are quick to say, oh, I don't care, because they've never experienced such a social injustice or a social, issue or trauma. And I think a lot of 2020's issues stems from trauma. Of course, there's certain things we can't control. COVID-19, I don't really know. No one knows COVID-19. No one knows. But it starts with the little things. How am I going to make myself a better person for tomorrow, for my future, for my kids' future, for my nieces and nephews' futures, for my younger siblings' future? How am I going to better that? Now, I'm not claiming Democrat, Republican. I'm not doing that. But I just want to come on here and say that if there is a protest where people feel like there are just so many injustices, where they feel like things are not right, I'm going to do my research and see, why are these people angry? Why are these people sad? Why are these people crying? Why are these people hurting? And I'm going to have my own opinion. So when I am in a room full of people, I can actually maybe not speak on it and argue or anything like that, but I can feel. I can have empathy. And a lot of people lack empathy because they don't have the knowledge. They don't care. Understanding 2020 is understanding your position in society, your position in life, your position as a human being. What are you doing on earth to make it a better place? If you're not making it a better place, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. It's that simple. A lot of people tend to not mind their business. A lot of people tend to opinionate and just be violent and rude and obnoxious. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. We don't have all the answers, but we need to do our part. as individuals. Because guess what? At the end of the day, we need to unite. Love wins all battles. But how are we going to love one another if we're killing one another? How are we going to love one another if we're just shunning out the other person's opinion? Now, that whole Republican Democrat situation, like, I must say, I was never really into politics, but this year's election, I must say, is one of the most important elections in history, American history. Now, I didn't really know what a Republican or a Democrat party was until this summer. Until I really did my own research. I was trying to understand because all I kept hearing in my house was politics, and it was getting to the point where I was just infuriated. I'm like, oh my God. It was just so toxic to just hear about politics for me. But if you're in a situation, or if you're in a position, if you're in an energy right now, similar to mine, where you just feel the world is upside down and it's just negative and you don't know what's coming up next, I have some tips for you. I have really nice tips for you. My first tip number 1, is to reflect. It's to heal. It's to ask the universe or ask your inner self to really have patience and ask for guidance. You can manifest whatever it is that you want in life. And 2020 has really made people believe that it is the end of the world. And let me tell you something, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So how are we going to move forward to make change, and good change, genuine change for ourselves and our future? How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Tip number 1, heal, reflect. Tip number 2, do your own research. Stop believing everything you see on the media, on Instagram. Because Instagram is great. It's a great platform. It really is. And people don't use it in the best of ways. But it is a wonderful platform. And if you're not engaging into anything positive, then that is a red flag. Do your own research. Tip number 3. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Because people say, you know what? I can't, this is who I am. I'm stuck in my ways. 2020 made me this way. Understanding 2020 is forgiving yourself, forgiving your past, healing from your past, moving forward, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Because guess what comes after 2020? 2021, and it's a new year. So what do you want next year by this time? What are the things that you want to flourish in your life? Do you want to be a better human being? Guess what? If you're living in this country, you are a part of the issues going on in this country, and you have the power to change it. And it starts with your mind, and it starts with your heart. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, because your beliefs are your beliefs, your experiences are your experiences. But if you're not doing the work to become a better person, then where does that leave you? You're not here on earth just to take up space. You have a purpose. Your voice matters. And that's what understanding 2020 is about realizing that your voice matters. Your feelings matter. Take a step back and really understand what's going on in your house, in your household, what's going on at your jobs, what's going on in your relationships. Where do you find yourself on that spectrum? Because let me tell you something. There's a lot of good things coming. A lot of good things coming. I can feel it. After the storm, there's a rainbow. So understanding 2020 is appreciating the good things, appreciating all the chaos that has happened, because it can give you a different focal point, a different perspective on life. It's like, I feel like 2020 has like smacked everybody so hard that it's like, have a seat. Have a seat. What do you need to work on as an individual? Stop worrying about your neighbors and the other people. Worry about yourself. Understanding 2020 is worrying about yourself and fixing yourself. Educating yourself. Education is not just student loans and college degrees. No, there's a lot of brilliant people who didn't go to school. So stop putting yourselves in boxes and really think outside the box. Think outside with a brighter and broader perspective. And you know what? I was maybe very ignorant, and I think everyone has been very ignorant. And I've said maybe a lot of ignorant things. And maybe you can relate. But how are we going to fix and change these issues? How? How? It starts from within. So I just wanted to share that little piece of information with you all and just spread love and just a new direction for you, because I feel like a lot of people are just scared to talk about these issues in the sense that they're just scared to admit that they were ignorant. Because a lot of chaos stems from ignorance. And I've been there. And I'm still probably very ignorant with a lot of things because I'm still learning. We're not perfect. But negativity has a snowball effect on people. And if we can't give 2020 anything positive, then we shouldn't be giving 2020 anything at all. Reflect. 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 You have purpose. Your voice matters. Understanding 2020 is all about reflection. It's all about change. So I just thank you all so much for hearing me out and just being a part of my life and supporting me. Supporting a Latina, Middle Eastern, American young woman who wants love and change. Because guess what? I support you too. There is no hate in my heart. There's no room for it. I don't tolerate hate. I love you all, and thank you so much for tuning in. Until my next podcast. Over and out.